Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel BBH Creates. My name is Brittany, and today for Vlogmas day 3 I thought that I would do some painting, and I think I'm going to keep this one on the shorter side. So I'm going to do watercolor postcards, and then I plan to spend the rest of the day making out other holiday cards. So that's why I wanted to keep it on the shorter side. So let me just move some stuff aside here, give myself some space. I'm going to be using this watercolor tablet. It is 140 pound and 9 inches by 12 inches. And I'm just going to take a sheet out. And then I'm going to turn it on the back side. I know that some people say that watercolor you can use either side. However, I prefer the side that's more textured. I don't know if you can tell the difference there. So on the less textured side, I'm going to measure halfway points as best as I can. And then we're going to cut these down so that they will be roughly the size of postcards. And I'm not getting as late of a start today. I did make a large breakfast this morning, but I'm getting a somewhat decent start. Maybe this one's off. Yeah, that one's the one that's off. Okay. And some of the designs that I have picked out for today are more easy than others, while other ones are a little bit more difficult. But the trick to this that I've found is to allow yourself to be free, and don't be so much of a stickler for perfection. So like, don't try to make your shapes perfect, don't try to make the colors perfect. I mean, watercolor is meant to be messy, so if your colors are blending, that's okay, just let them blend. And I think you'll be really satisfied with the results. Alright, so now that we have those sectioned off, we're just going to cut them down to size. So this is going to make us 4 postcards. And I can't remember the exact measurements for the maximum postcard size that you can mail with a postcard stamp. So I would suggest you check with your local post office or look it up online. You might have to use a regular postage stamp to mail these. But they might be okay with a postcard stamp. And then once you get them all cut out, we're just going to set aside 3 so that they don't get messy. Alright, flip it over to the other side. And this here, this is just like the glue from where I tore it out. You can take that off, you can leave it on, whatever you'd like. So I'm going to grab some washi tape. I'll be right back. Alright, and what I'm going to use the washi tape for is to make a little frame, and also to secure the paper. I like to use this graph washi tape just because it's easier to get a straight line. You can just line it up with the graph lines. And then another thing you can do when you're doing this, taping it down, is you can make it to where it looks like an equal sided frame, or you can tape it off to look like a Polaroid, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just eyeballing this. This is another reason why the lines are so helpful, because instead of measuring, you can just line it up. And what I did was I just lined the edge of the postcard with like the middle graph line. Okay, so now we're ready to begin. Just move those aside. Get my little watercolor turtle out. I found this guy on, I'll put him over here because I'm right-handed. Five Below. This little cutie was $5. So you just take his little shell off, and there's your water bowl. You have a little brush holder here. I'm going to be working with this kind of like worn down ratty bristle brush, and also a regular water brush. So I'll just put some water out. And then the palette over here will be from Mixing Colors. And I'm just going to use this cake palette. I have my little swatch here. Take the lid off. And then put it to the side here. Okay. So the first one I'm going to do with you is a Starry Night themed, and we're just going to spritz the watercolor a little bit with a little spritz bottle, and that just helps to get the paper ready to work with the paint. Then you can still see some glitter on this brush from the snowflakes I was doing in my bullet journal from Vlogmas video 1 and 2. I'm leaving that on there because I like sparkle. But I'm just going to activate some of this blue and then very messily paint it on. And I'm not worried about, you know, even color or hitting all the spots. It's fine if you have some white in the background still showing. I might try to make it a little bit darker in the top to give it a fading effect. And that can be like our sunset. Okay, so I'm just gonna wash out my brush here. I'm not going to be using white gouache today. Usually that's recommended because white watercolor is so transparent. Gouache is usually the preferred paint to go on over this for like splattering. But I'm going to do a controlled splatter with a Uni-Ball Signo white gel pen. But we're going to do that at the end. Just allowing this to dry a little bit. I do have a heat gun, but I'm not going to use that today because it is noisy. It won't take that long. I didn't put that much down. But next what we're going to do is we're going to go in with a little bit of white and mix it with the blue down here. And we're going to mix just the tiniest bit of black with it to make it like a snow, give it like a snowy effect. And again, I'm just going in messily with this. It doesn't have to be perfect. You could use gouache on this part, like if you wanted a really heavy snow, or if you really wanted it to stand out, you could definitely do that. And you can go beyond what I'm doing. Today I'm just going to do like some trees, but you could definitely put like little forest animals in there, or you could paint like a snowman, or you could put Christmas decorations on the tree that you're going to paint. I'm not going to do that though. But definitely have fun with it and work with it until you get it where you want it. Okay, so there's our snow. let that dry for a little bit. Next, we're going to do some very simple trees. I'm probably going to do maybe 2 or 3. So I'm just going to activate my green paint. We'll put a little bit there, and then I want some of this paint that is a lighter green. Okay, for this I'm going to dab my brush off. I want it to be kind of creamy. So I'm going to get that excess off of my brush, and then I'm going to go in and just very messily and downward strokes do brush strokes. And you can make them as big as you want, as large as you want. I mean, like width-wise, tall-wise. You could put as many branches as you like. If you wanted to, you could put some trunk on them, maybe some branches. And there are a lot of different ways to paint trees. This is just a really quick way to get them on the paper. I like to leave some negative space in between my branches. It just makes them look more realistic to me. Get some of that darker green. And you can see here how my paint is a little bit more dry. So you see how my bristle strokes are more easily seen. To fix that, you just get a little bit more water on your brush, and then keep doing those downward brush strokes. And I think I'm going to do a little baby one here. Okay. And then I think I'm going to do some shadows of trees. So for that, I'm just going to mix some white with the green and very messily put them in the background. So I said I was making breakfast earlier this morning. I made sausage, eggs, and some hash, which was really yummy. Okay, and it's alright if you get darker in the light. You can just take a damp part of a paper towel and blot that up. It should come up pretty easy. Or you can leave it and work it in and make it like a shadow to the tree. Watercolor, in my opinion, is very forgiving. So I just expanded that tree and made it a little wider. Okay, so there's your scene. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this blue should be dry enough. I'm going to take this Uni-Ball Signo white gel pen, and I'm just going to go in and make some dots. Those are going to be our snow. And like I said, you could do gouache, white gouache paint with this if you wanted. Normally I would splatter the paint, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute, because I love splattering watercolor. That can be like a little star. And you can make it as snowy as you want. You can make it look like a dusting. If you want, you can add some to the trees, like the snow's falling on the trees. And then maybe put some down on your ground to make it look like fresh snow has fallen. Alright. Add just a little bit more. put another star here. Maybe one up here. Okay, so now to splatter, you want a really wet brush, and I'm going to use this kind of messed up, jaggedy bristle one. Those are the perfect ones for splattering. And for my splatter, I'm going to do a combination of this green here and some of this copper. So I'm just going to put that down on the palette. Okay, and then you're going to want a dry brush. So wipe the excess off and then go into those colors that you did your palette. And I find it easier to splatter when you have something to tap it on. Okay, so we'll let that dry. And then I'm going to go in with some white. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is just clean up this little bit here. Again, if you use a wet paper towel, usually you can dab that right up. Now you can wait until this is fully dry, but I'm just going to take it up now. And again, if you notice that your tape is pulling up your watercolor paper, you're going to want to use your heat gun to loosen the glue on the tape. You could use a hair dryer if you don't have a heat gun. You could use your fingers and just rub back and forth on the tape for a while too. You just want to generate some heat to loosen that glue up. You want to save your washi tape for your next project. Okay, so that one's coming up a little bit. And if that happens too, you can just go in the opposite direction, and sometimes that helps. There you go. So there you have it, a Polaroid watercolor postcard. And then what I'm going to do is, I'll be right back, I'm going to grab a pen. I'll use a Tombow dual tip marker actually. This is one I was using in yesterday's video, 569. And I'm going to very messily write Merry Christmas. Alright, do a little snowflake dot for the eye, and there you have it. If you want this to dry a little bit quicker, you can always take that paper towel and dab up the extra splatter. But there you go. That's postcard number 1. I'm just gonna set this over here. For our next one, I think I might just do 2 today and save the 2 for another day, the last 2 for another day. For this next one, I'm just going to do a basic frame taping. I'm not going to do a Polaroid. Get that tape straight. Might have to turn it around. There we go. And when you're doing this, like if you're going as fast as I am and you're not letting stuff dry, just be careful that you don't get the paint from your washi tape from your previous project on your new fresh postcard canvas. Okay, I'm going to put the sides in a little bit more so that they're more even with the top and the bottom. There we go. Move this one over a little bit. Okay. So now for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right across the middle of the card with some more washi tape. And sticking with our tree woodsy theme, I'm going to do another Christmas tree. And we already have our green in our palette, so I'm just going to try to use that up. So try to use your grids if you're using grid washi. If not, just try to eyeball the center and just start with those downward strokes of the brush and then just fan out. And it's okay if some parts of the tree are darker than others. Like if you want the bristles to be darker, you can definitely go in with like the tips. Or if you wanted to have the middle of the tree darker, you could do that also. And now you're just going to go right over that washi that you put in the center. Just paint right over it. Maybe go in and make my tip a little bit brighter. Just keep those brush strokes fluid and go right over it. And this is going to give the look of a consistent brush stroke, and it's going to make your tree look more complete. You can stop wherever you like. If you want to fan your tree limbs out, that's fine too. Here and there. Then just go in and fill in a little bit. I want a little bit of detail, so I'm going to do some darker tips here and there for my branches. And really, there's, no secret to this. You're just very messily going in and putting color where you think it should go. And for me, that is the tip of the branches. Can maybe make the ones at the bottom a little bit longer, because those are going to be your longest or biggest branches anyways. Okay, and then what you're going to want to do is put a little trunk on our tree, and you don't have to if you don't want to. I think I'm just going to very messily do a little swirl for our trunk. Okay. Alright. If you want to put a star on your tree, you can. If you want to put ornaments on it, you can. Yellows are very difficult to paint with for watercolors. They're like whites. They're very transparent. But I'm going to try to put a star up here. Alright, not too bad. So now what you're going to want to do is very carefully take that washi tape off that's in the middle. And you see what you've created? You've created a little banner in the middle of your postcard. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take our pen again. I'm going to use the same one, the 569. And I think I'm going to use the fine point this time. And I'm just going to carefully write Merry Christmas. Through that banner that we created. And it's okay if it's messy. There you go. So we'll just take this one up. Again, you can save your washi for another card if you'd like, or you can dispose of it, whatever you like. And there is another Christmas postcard. Oh, I remember why I put those on there, actually, to create a frame. I was going to splatter it. That's okay. It just won't have a frame. So there you have it. Then what you can do for the back is you can hand draw your postcard details. Like you could write postcard and then draw your line here. Maybe draw a little box for your stamp. I have a postcard rubber stamp, and once this dries some more, I'm just going to load this up with some black archival ink and just stamp the back of it, and then it'll be ready to fill out. Alright, so that's what I have for you guys. We will do the other two watercolor postcards later. They will not have trees in them. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section under the video below. And I will see you guys in my next video tomorrow, Vlogmas Day 4. Bye!